everybody knows I ain't never gonna let you go.
Hey guys, welcome. It's recording.
Oh no.
What? That wasn't it. In all seriousness, no, that was fun. Hey guys, welcome. This is the first video that I'm doing with my sister, and the topic of this month is about being a woman, being proud, being confident, and we really want to get into topics that what have we grown up with, what are the negative messages that we received, and what helped us overcome those things. So I'm so excited to be with my sister, who I love so much, and I mean, we're twins right now. But a little bit about ourselves. We have, how many years apart are we?
I think it's like 5.
Okay, so we're 5 years apart. We love to share clothes. It wasn't that way when we were growing up, which we're going to talk about. When we were growing up, it was a little bit different. You know, I felt older, but it wasn't until maybe our 20s that we kind of leveled out, and we're like, oh my gosh.
Did we just become best friends?
Yep. And as you can see, we wanted to make this something comfortable. We love robes, as you can tell, blankets, pillows, coffee. So that's like our little thing. And last month we went to an event for Girl Scouts for Latina young women, and it was just such a fun event. And so I want to talk about that a little bit, about how you felt in that event.
It was great. I mean, it was my first experience kind of doing anything along that. And I mean, it was definitely nerve-wracking because it's like, what do I say?
Who am I?
Yeah, who am I? But it was really nice being able to sit and, like, you know, see the young girls, and just talk about, you know, our own personal experiences, but also at the end, like, hearing any questions that they had, and just having that time to, like, be there.
Yeah.
You know, it was nice. So it was a nice experience for sure.
What I took away from it was there was this moment where you said very directly to the young girls, and these are middle schoolers, you said, "You are beautiful." I mean, you could feel it in the room, like this kind of silence, but it's kind of like, oh my gosh, no one's ever told me that out loud, or like, is it real? And it just felt so like, and this is, I feel like, why we're doing this, because we need to hear that message, and we need to say it over and over again until we believe it, until others believe it, because, you know, I know we see each other and, you know, we see ourselves all done up, but what about the inside? What about our core, and just feeling so confident in there, and that, yes, when we dress up or we put on makeup, that we're already coming from a confident place, that we're already feeling like, you know, this is me, with or without makeup, with or without clothes, like, that's like the fun stuff, right? In addition, but who am I for real, deep down inside? So for those of you guys that don't know, my sister's name is Alicia Perry, not Esther. Some people get that confused. But she founded Modern Esther, which is a personal styling company, but also she does skincare. So she has helped a lot of women to feel confident in their skin. And so definitely check out her page. But yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Alicia Perry, whichever is fine.
I call her Alice.
Yeah, like, everyone, okay. It's just always hard to say what my name is. Not really hard, but it's like, my government name is Alicia, right?
Yeah.
Then when you go to school, people call you Alicia.
Yeah.
But then my family always called me Alice. So it's like, whenever it's like, what's your name? I'm like, I don't even know what to say myself. But yeah, so my name's Alicia Perry. You can always call me Alice. I'm 28 years old, I believe.
I do that too.
I should be 28. I should be 28. I have 3 kids. I have a husband. yeah, I do my personal styling business, but I also do skincare, which I'm geared more towards that right now, but I definitely am trying to get back into the personal styling once again. But my full time that I really do is I'm a preschool teacher for ages 3 to 4, and it's nice. It's definitely an experience.
Yeah.
Only preschool teachers or teachers in general know what it's like to live in that, and yeah, it's just something else. But that's basically it
Yeah.
about me. Yeah.
And I appreciate just who you are. You know, being my sister, there's a lot of things that I have learned, and if you know us, our personalities are different, where I'm loud, outspoken, and my sister's more quiet, reserved.
Yes.
And so we've learned a lot on the journey, which we want to share today, and just accepting differences and accepting that we are unique and that we all have something to give and something to share. And so we're going to talk about what are the negative messages that we had when we were growing up, and that looks differently. Like, even though we have the same parents, we shared the same clothes,
Right.
we
live in the same house,
right, we went to the same school, like, still there were some things that ended up different. And so I'll start off.
Yeah.
So some of the negative messages that I received in terms of body image or appearance, it all happened in middle school. For some reason, that was it was like a war zone. Like, for me, that was my memory of middle school. One time I was walking down the hallway and I was putting up my hair up, and in a clip, and a guy in the hallway behind me said, "Oh my God, ew, look at her ears."
That's messed up.
Right. Like, now I look back, I'm like, man, I should have just been confident in myself and been like, whatever. But in that moment, it scarred me. And so for a really long time, I felt so uncomfortable putting my hair up because I felt that my ears were too big and there's nothing I could do about it. I mean, what was I going to do? Take my ears?
Right.
And so it was such it followed me. The other thing was I was a late bloomer, so I didn't develop until high school. So all of middle school I went throughout it just like no one really paid attention to me. That was like the time where, boys were really starting to notice girls and paying attention. And that for me was like, no one is paying attention to me. So it was like this negative message. If you're not developed, then you don't deserve attention. Or there were funny jokes that people even said, even in high school. I received this from a guy. He said, what you have are mosquito bites. And that stuff, like it gets to you. And so for a while, I just felt like I'm not enough. And that was the negative message that, physically, my body, my appearance was not enough to get someone's attention. So what it ended up happening was I ended up in a relationship with the first guy that paid attention to me, because that negative message was so strong that I'm enough. And then as soon as someone paid attention to me, it was like, this is love, or this is the first time someone ever wanted to carry a conversation with me, from a guy. And so obviously, knowing that, because I wasn't confident in myself, I settled for whatever that was. And how long it took for me to get out of that and to get to that place of healing and believe that, with or without, as I am beautiful, I am loved, I am accepted. That validation or that approval doesn't have to come from a guy, right? So that was like the negative messages that I received growing up.
Right.
And now, God is so wonderful, because even with my husband now, the way he loves me, he's like, I love you with your 32A broad, you know? And he's like, you're the most beautiful thing ever. And that to me was so healing. I mean, but first I had to love myself. I had to, and even with my ears, now I'm like, you know what? I want to put up my hair up all the time. I ain't got time for this mess, you know? Like if I don't have my hair done. And so it didn't matter how much I fixed my hair, highlighted my hair, put on makeup, got a job, you know, increased my income. Like all of that did not matter if I couldn't be happy with myself first. So it's for the girls that are out there, man, if you could just look at yourself and just believe that you're beautiful. It's not about what you're wearing, what you don't or you do have. Like you are just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I love it. So like she said, my experience was different. I mean, for sure, I mean, we have the same genetics, so
yeah.
I mean, I definitely did experience that where it's like, oh, you know, certain body types were more glamorized. Does that make any sense? Like, you know, like if you had this kind of body, like you're more beautiful and, you know, all these things. So, you know, growing up, you know, like I said, we had the same genetics, so like we were always so skinny and just late, like she's saying, late bloomers. And there's nothing we could do about it. As much as we wanted, we could have wished we could have done something about it. There just wasn't anything we could do about it. So it is a process growing up and learning that, you know, you are beautiful the way you are, that it's okay. Like you do not have to live by the standards of what other people think are beautiful. But like, you know, you already are. God already made a standard for you, and that standard already is beautiful. Yeah. So, you know, having to go through that too. But my biggest, I think, thing that I went through growing up was that I felt overshadowed. Overshadowed is the word, because, you know, so I have my sister, right? She's 5 years older than me, so, you know, she's the first child, so she was able to experience everything first, you know, with my parents and everything, and I was the last baby, and as she said, I was just always so quiet, I was always so reserved to myself, and that was just me, like even with family people that know me, like I was just so quiet at one point. And so I just think for me personally, I just felt like I was overshadowed, so I didn't really want to achieve much, or I didn't want to do much, because I felt like how can I meet up to the standard that I had for my sister? Do you know what I mean? So, you know, it was just kind of like hard to find my own voice, and hard to be like, look at me, like look what I'm doing, when I feel like even then what I'm doing is not good enough, or she already did it. So what is the point of me even trying? What is the point of me even like not doing anything, but like I'm just gonna follow in her footsteps. So for me growing up, it was like I always wanted to be my sister, like my sister, but I still had this standard and comparison in a sense where it's like I still feel like I want to be like her, but it just I never allowed myself or gave myself room to discover who I am. Like my eyes were so fixed on what she was doing, what she was accomplishing, and I was always so proud, and don't get me wrong, I was always so proud, and that's why I wanted to be like my sister. But like I said, it just I never gave myself room to be like, okay, like that's great, like it's amazing that God made her in that way, where she's able to sing the way she does, or, you know, speak publicly like she does, and academically, you know, how she does, but God made me different, and it's okay. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing. It's in a different way, and in that way I can still shine. Does that make any sense? So for me, that's what it was growing up. It was like, how do I find my voice? This shy, skinny, small little girl, you know, growing up, like, you know, how can I find my voice? And how can I realize that, you know, God has a journey just for me, you know, and owning that and accepting that and enjoying that journey. Like it doesn't need to look like everyone else's. And I think especially for the day and age, you know, that we live in, you know, social media, we're so easy to like see everyone's lives. We're so easy to see the success and the accomplishments, and it's so quick and easy. Like just even if you're on for 2 minutes and you're scrolling, you're like, damn, like I wish I had that person's house, or I wish I had that furniture, or I wish my body looked like that, or I wish I had those amount of friends, or whatever the case is. You know, it's so easy to fall into that trap of like, damn, like I feel like I'm not on the right journey. I'm just not enough in general, you know? But it's kind of like, no, like you are fine. Like wherever God has you, it's exactly where you need to be, and whatever gifts and talents and the characteristics that he's given you, it's all for a purpose, but it's for you to figure out, not for you to try to replicate it and fit into someone else. You need to refine it so you can become you. Yes. So that was my experience, you know.
Which, by the way, you have been so essential in my life, where I have weaknesses, like you are that strength. And I love that about being sisters.
Yes.
Because, you know, even something so simple as we're going shopping and I pick something out and you're like, no, put that down.
Right. Yeah.
Let me help you.
Right.
You know, that has been so helpful to me. And, you know, humbling myself down to say, even though I'm older, I need help.
Right.
I need you. And I think if we spread that message more, we need each other. We need your voice. We need what you have to offer. And just as what you have to offer, I have something to offer as well. And going back to that message of being skinny, because I wanted to talk about that. So we couldn't help it. It didn't matter how much we ate. It was, I don't know. Like, it just,
I don't even know
went
where
out.
it went. Because a lot of people say, like, oh, you might go to the bathroom a lot. I didn't go to the bathroom a lot either. So, like, it was just weird. Like, we just could never.
But certain people were mean. I don't want to say it was everyone, but there was negative messages there where even someone came up to me and did this to me, like, you're so thin, just stuff like that.
And I think it's hard because there's a different standard that people have in terms of, oh, like, I'm not going to say this about someone who is bigger, right?
Yeah.
But it's easier for me to say something to someone that's skinny, but it's still harsh. It's not anything that you're saying, like, as a good thing, as a compliment, like, you're saying rude things, but for some reason, people can easily say things about, like, skinny people. Not that I'm saying they never say anything you know, about the
it's just
other
like
side.
it goes both ways.
Right.
Like, you can hear that negative message on both ends, and it's just like, when are we going to stop that? When is it going to end? And, you know, just as you are, you're beautiful. And, you know, it took me so long to get to 100 pounds.
It took me 3 kids. Like, seriously, like, it's just the way that we were made genetically.
Right.
Like, it's just, there's nothing we could do.
But I couldn't see myself, and I'm pretty sure, because we have cousins, that they're like, what do you mean? I wish I was your size, or, you know, friends. But I couldn't see myself that way. I saw myself in that light of, I'm not enough. I'm not thick enough. You know, I just, what can I
voluptuous, like,
what can I do? And on the outside, people could be like, no, you look great. And so, you know, really working on yourself, on your core, and saying, I am who I am. I'm beautiful. I am loved. I am accepted. And so, to end, what has helped you overcome those negative messages?
For me personally, like, obviously God, because it's so easy to get wrapped up in the lies that the world has set up for us. But when you read God's truth and what he says about you, it's like you realize, like, hold on, like, this whole time I've been so fixated on the standards of, you know, what it means for me to be beautiful or for me to be successful, when in his word and in God's word, it lays it out for you, the truth of how since the beginning and before time, you've always been so valuable, that God always has a plan and a purpose for your life. And so for me, really, you know, diving deep in that area really has helped me, and for sure being surrounded by people that really encourage me and who really empower me. And I know how beneficial that has been for my life, having God, but also him sending me people that are there to, you know, to stand with me and to be with me and to cheer me on and encourage me, that in the same way I want to be that for someone else, because I know we know the struggle of what it's like, and I never want anyone to feel lesser than themselves or feel like they're not capable enough or to not see the true value that they have, because I know what that's like, and it's hard when it's like you have so much to offer. And so for me, like I said, just really relying on God and, you know, reading his word and accepting his truth, not what everyone else has to say, and just making sure I'm surrounding myself with the right kind of people that are really there with a genuine and authentic place to encourage and just be there for me.
Yeah. And I think when you're growing up, you have friends, and then you learn they're not really good friends. You know, maybe they just wanted the company, but they're hurtful because they're also hurting, and so they need work on themselves. And you kind of grow out, and you end up having to choose friends. Like now I'm going to have friends in my life that are going to encourage me, that are going to be real with me and loving. I think the same thing, what has helped me overcome has been literally running to the feet of Jesus. The way I respond to pain, and I would bottle it up, and I would just, everything's fine, I'm fine. I kept saying, like, even to mom and dad, like, they knew I was hurting and they didn't know how to help me, so I would just say, I'm fine, I don't need your help. There was one point where I know Dad came up to me and he was like, I'll buy you whatever you want if you just tell me.
Right.
And like, he was trying so hard to like be there for his daughter, to help, you know, to help me understand, like, it's going to be okay, like, I'm here for you. But it was the baggage was so big, because that was another thing. Someone else, I don't know why it always happened in the hallway. Someone in the hallway was like, ew, there comes that girl with that ugly sweater. We didn't have a lot of money at that time, and honestly, I don't even know where we got our clothes from. Like, you know, our parents just, this is what you're gonna wear. And so to hear that, it was like, you know, I knew it hurt, but I didn't want to say that I was hurting. I didn't want it to get me down. Like, no, that, you know, that's not hurting me, but it just boiled up so much. And what helped me was praying and just laying it all out to God and saying, this is how I feel. I feel wretched. And just feeling God's embrace and knowing how to receive his love. And so those moments of just being me by myself in my room and praying and saying it to God and knowing and receiving what he has to say for me, that was so healing. And from that place, I had to learn to forgive. Forgive people for what they said. Forgive people that maybe they didn't say it intentionally. I mean, it even came from like, even mom, like, you're not eating enough.
Oh, we got it from you. So you should know. Like, you should know, homegirl, why we're like this.
Exactly. Like, it was just so hard. But learning to, specifically with mom, learning to love her again and forgiving her. Oh, that was a huge piece for me, because I got to the point where I was like, I hate everyone. I hate the world. I hate myself. I just hate everything. Like, everything for me, it was like just fire. Like, and it was just this ugly place. And it wasn't until I got to Jesus and laid it all out and received that healing, then I could move from there and start loving. Because if you don't love yourself first, the Bible says that, right? The commandments, love the Lord your God, you know, with your mind, your body, your soul, all your strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. You can't love others until you love yourself. So I know that if you don't treat that, it can become very unhealthy. And like you said, on social media, we see a lot of things, and we could easily try to be something that we're not. And that is a dangerous thing of living a life that's not even yours, you know? And it's so important to own who you are, own, you know, this space. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to end it today. I want to thank you so much for telling your story. And we're going to do this again, talking about being women and just being proud. So there's a lot of other things coming up. Next week, we're going to be doing a radio interview. It's going to be on the District Channel's podcast, so we'll let you know more about that. And also, I have a online course that you can take about how to become a key influencer. So if you would like more information on that, follow me on social media and follow Alice for more encouragement, positive messages. And thank you so much for watching.